Hello, this is Bill. Welcome back. In this video, you will learn how to add timeline effects and motion tweening. Well, let's get started. Let's take a look at what you'll learn how to create in this video. I'm going to go ahead and press Control, and I'll choose Test Movie. And you can see initially, a black and white flower will fade in from left to right. Once that is finished, some text will appear. Once the text is there, the flower will go from black and white to full color, and then it'll last for about a second, and then everything will fade out. And if you've got looping turned on, which I currently do, that whole process would continue over and over. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close my movie. I'm going to come up to File. I'm going to choose New, and I'm going to choose Flash File, ActionScript 3.0, and I'll go ahead and press OK. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is resize my image. And to do that, I'm going to open up my property window, and again, that's the keyboard shortcut there is Control F3. Your property window would probably already be visible. Okay, on size, I'm going to go ahead and press on this little command button, and I'm going to increase the width to 400 pixels, and I'll go ahead and decrease the height to 150, and I'll go ahead and make this black for my background color, and I'll go ahead and press OK. And at this point, I'm pressing this little X right here to close my property window. Okay, now what I want to do is get a couple images imported into my library, and to do that I'll come up here to File, I'll choose Import, and I'll go Import to Library. And right here on my temp drive I've got a couple images. I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and so I can select both of them and import them at the same time here. Flower.color, that's the one in full color, and then the black and white, I simply took this colored version, I took it into Adobe Photoshop, I went to Image, Adjust, Desaturated, and got my black and white version of that flower. At this point I'll go ahead and press Open, and I'll take these two images and import them to my library. Okay, at this point I'm going to open up my library. The keyboard shortcut there is Control L. The first time here, let me go ahead and show you the non-keyboard shortcut. I can press on the Window tab and choose Library. Okay, at this point I'm going to go ahead and simply drag this onto the stage, and I'll go ahead and minimize or collapse my library. Okay, next I want to do is align this. I want to get it off to the right and centered, and to open up my align window I can press Control K, or I can come up here to Window, and you can see the keyboard shortcut there is Control K. And I'm going to go ahead and align it to the right. See that little line off to the right? That's going to align it to the right. And you see that little white circle there is a line coming in the middle, and that's going to distribute that to the vertical center. And again, I'll go ahead and collapse that window. Okay, we're ready to add our first timeline effect. I can see I've got frame 1 selected. I'm going to come up here to Insert. I'm going to choose Timeline Effects. I'm going to come to Transform Transition, and I'm going to choose a Transition. Okay, right now it's fading in from the top down, and I believe in my little example I had that go from left to right, so I'm going to press this little triangle over here. If I want, I can choose Update Preview, and now you can see it's fading in from left to right. If you want to, you could adjust the duration by either increase or decrease the number of frames there. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it at 30. Okay, at this point I'm going to go ahead and highlight frame 1, hit my Enter key, and we can see how the flower is being faded in from left to right there. I'm going to go ahead and rename this layer. I'm going to call this one, simply double click there, and I'm going to call this one my black and white. And now I'm going to go ahead and press on the Insert Layer icon, and I'll go ahead and, while I'm right here, I'm going to go ahead and give this little layer the name Quality. Okay, so that transition lasted 30 frames, so I'm going to highlight frame 30 on the second layer. I'm going to come up here to Insert, Timeline, and I'm going to choose Keyframe, or the keyboard shortcut here is F6. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my text tool. I'm going to go ahead and come down here a ways, and I'll go ahead and type in Quality Products. And I'll go ahead and use my selection tool and drag that off the stage onto what is known as the stage pasteboard. Okay, now I can see I'm going 12 frames per second, and I'll just come out here, say frame 45, and I'm going to press F6. And now what I'm going to do is use my selection tool. I'm going to highlight Quality Products and drag that onto the stage here. And now I'm going to click anywhere in between here and right click, and I'll go Create Motion Tween. So here's frame 30. The text is off onto the stage pasteboard, and on frame 45 it's going to be right there. Okay, what you're probably noticing is my flower has disappeared here. And what I could do is add some more frames to keep the flower there, but what that's really going to do is just simply lengthen this transition period. So I'm going to come here in frame 31, and I'm going to insert a blank keyframe, and the keyboard shortcut there is F7. Okay, blank keyframe, F7. I'm now going to open up my property window, Control L, drag my black and white flower onto the stage, minimize this, press Control K. I want to make sure I get this flower in exactly the same spot. I'm going to line the right edge and distribute to the vertical center, and again I'll go ahead and collapse that. Okay, at this point I can now press F5 and drag that on out. Once I come along here, we'll take a look at, I'll come back here to frame 1, I'll press the Enter key. We can see the flower fade in. Once that is in place, Quality Products appears. Okay, the next thing I want to do is press on the Insert layer another time. I'm going to come right up here to frame, in my case here, frame 45. I'm going to press F6, insert a keyframe. I'm now going to go ahead and use my Type tool, and I'll come along and I'm going to type Satisfied Customers, and I'll use my Selection tool and drag that onto the stage pasteboard. Okay, I'll come over here, I'll say frame 60. I'll press F6 another time and use my Selection tool. I'll drag Satisfied Customers onto the stage here. I'll now go ahead and right click anywhere in this area, and I'll come along and create a motion tween, and there we go. So now I'm going to highlight, just so I keep, Quality Products and the flower stay here, I'm going to highlight frame 60 on Quality, press F5 and F5 to keep those things visible there. Okay, let's come back here, highlight frame 1, I'm going to press the Enter key, the flower fades in, then the first text, once that is in place, the second text. And we're now ready to go from black and white into full color. I'm going to go ahead and press on the Insert Layer button, and I'll come right up here on frame 60. I'll press F6 to insert a keyframe. I'm now going to press Control L, open up my library, and I'm going to drag the flower, the one flower colors is what mine is called here, onto the stage here. Press Control L. Whoops, that was Control K I need to press. Open up my Align window. Control K. Align that to the right and distribute to the vertical center. And at this point I can go ahead and collapse that. Okay, again I'm going to add another transition. I'm going to go ahead and at this point highlight again frame 60. I'm going to come up here to Insert, and so again press Insert and then come down to Timeline Effects, and I'm going to come over here to Transform, Transition, and I'm going to choose Transition. And I believe in this case it was fading it from the top on down, so I'm going to go ahead and just simply press OK, and there we go. And I'll come along at this point, highlight, it looks like about frame 88 here or so, press F5, F5, and F5. And let's go ahead and take a look at it again. Highlight frame 1, press the Enter key, we fade in to black and white, some text appears, some more text, and then we go to full color. And I believe in my example there I had that last for a few seconds, or at least a second here before I fade it out. So I'm going to highlight frame 90. I'll press F7. Again, let me come up here one more time. Insert Timeline, and that's a blank keyframe, F7. A little warning message is going to pop up here. You can ignore that. I'm just going to go ahead and press OK. I'll go ahead and press Control L. Drag out my flower color again, and minimize my layers window, my library window, and I'm going to go ahead and press Control K, open up my Align window, line it to the right, and distribute to the vertical center there, and collapse that. Okay, let's say we want this to last just here a second or so. I'm coming out here at about 105. I'm going to press F6, and then down here I'm going to keep pressing F5 just so this information stays visible there. Okay, so now my flower is going to fade in, my color flower. It's going to stick around here for about a second or so, and now what I want it to happen is for both my color flower and my text to fade out. Okay, so I'm now going to go ahead and position my cursor right here, and I'm going to fade this out. And to do that, I'm going to come up here to Insert, Timeline Effects, and I have been choosing Transition. This time I'm going to choose Transform, and I'm going to go ahead and just simply decrease the value here all the way down to 0, and it's going to last 30 seconds. If you ever get a chance, you might want to try this rotating or spin. It's just going to rotate or spin your object around there. Kind of a cool effect there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and press OK, and that's going to fade that out. And I'll repeat that process with the text. I'll come along and press right here, and I'm going to press F6. I'm then going to come up here to Insert, Timeline Effects, Transform, Transition. I'll choose Transform. Again, I'm just going to decrease this all the way down to 0, so it disappears, the alpha value. And one more time here, highlight, looks about 104 here on quality, press F6, come up to Insert, Timeline Effects, Transform, Transition, choose Transform, decrease the alpha value all the way down to 0, and press OK. Okay, I think we're about ready there. I'm going to go way back over here to the beginning, highlight frame 1, press the Enter key. The flower fades in, black and white, quality produce, satisfied customers. We go to full color, stays there for about a second, and then everything fades out. Well, hopefully in this video you learned how to add timeline effects and a little motion tweening there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.